All right, so what I want to talk about today in the segment on personal and professional development is, oh, is that the server in there?
Yeah, something's wrong.
We need an airplane mechanic. It sounds like an airplane. Sounds like an engine. I'll look at it here in a minute and pretend like I actually know what I'm doing and see if, yeah, I'll reach out. Yeah, it just kicked up a notch, didn't it? It just hit turbo. I'll reach out to Troy or Ben or both, figure out what's going on there. The good news is that server only controls our IP addresses right now. So hopefully one day we'll be done with that whole machine. That's my goal. Anyway. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It sounds like it's about to retire, doesn't it? All right. So what I want to talk about today is a talk that I'm going to call control freak. Reason why is that this sticks in your mind. And the reason why is because, there are things in our life that we can control and things that we can't. There's a lot that we can't control. I can't control the weather. I can't control who gets elected in the White House. I can't control a lot of different things. There's a lot of things I can't control. And a lot of us, and I say us, me, you, human beings, friends, family, a lot of us focus on things that we have no control over. And we get emotional about things that we have no control over. And so again, just the topic of this talk is control freak, which is not necessarily a great word, but I want this to stick in your mind to be more passionate about the things in your life that you can control than the things that you can't. And so let's break this down a little bit. First of all, a quick thought about belief. You should ask yourself on some of the things that you believe is, what is the utility of this belief? How is it actually serving me? So an example of utility of belief, think about this. If you believe the economy is in shambles, if you think that the economy is bad and inflation's high, you'd be right. But if you literally think about the economy as this thing that you have no control over, which is true, the entire economy is something you don't have control over, but you have control over your own actions financially. Is that true? Like, we can control whether we go to Starbucks or whether we make coffee at home. I'm not dissing Starbucks. I love Starbucks and their Wi-Fi, right? But my point is, like, there's things that we can control within our own economy. So we have to make sure that the utility of our belief is not giving all of our power away to actually affect what you and I have control over. So it's called the utility of belief. If you believe political issues are detrimental and they're going to get worse, you're giving your power away to the government. And I don't know about you, but Joe Biden's not my grandpa. Trump's not my uncle. Like, they don't know me. I'm just a random guy. I have no control over what happens at the White House. So we have to make sure that our utility on what we believe. If we believe the economy is tough, then we need to say, well, what can I do in my own economy? What can I do for my family's economy? What can I do for my economy? Instead of just worried about the economy as a whole. Same thing with politics. Same thing with anything. Check your utility of a belief. There's an endless list on things that we can't control. We're going to spend just a moment on that because we're going to talk about the things that we can't control. We can't control the weather. Can't control politics. Can't control if somebody gets diagnosed with a disease. We can't control the sun. Jim Rohn, which is one of my favorite mentors, he passed away several years ago, but one of my favorite mentors to listen to, he said, he urges people not to spend time on things that they can't control. He says, why does the sun come up and go down? I wouldn't sign up for that class. I wouldn't waste time on that. Just let it be. And it's just a funny example of the fact that, like, why is this? Why do these things? It's like, just focus on what you can actually contribute to and affect the outcome of. And by doing that, not only will you be happier, but you literally take your own life in a better trajectory on your health, your finances, your marriage, relationship with your kids, your work, your education, your fulfillment, your ministry. Like, these things will flourish just by saying, hey, what can I actually control? So let's talk about the things that we can control. Number one is gratitude. Gratitude, being grateful. One of the biggest tips that I ever got in business was a study of some of the most successful people on the planet. And this one thing that they had in common, I almost dropped my jaw. Now, it may not be big to you, but this was huge to me. One of the things they had in common, which is very unique because these were all successful people, unrelated, different industries, different everything. But one of their common habits that most of them were actually implementing every day was making a list at the end of the day on their wins for the day. Now, in business, it's just like life. Like, it's like parenting, or it's like tending a garden, or it's like, being a great spouse. Like, our work can never be over. Like, there's more that we can contribute than there's amount of time in the day to contribute, right? Like, there's so much more we can do. There's so much more we can do with our kids. There's so much more we can do in our marriage. There's so much more we can do in our finances. It's like an endless list. We can't do it all because there's only 24 hours in a day. Well, that's how I felt in my work life. That's how I felt in my career, was like, there's always so much more that needs to be done. So every day, what I was focusing on before I read this article were all the things I didn't get done. It's what I didn't do every day. Instead of saying, hey, where were my wins for today, and focusing on what I did accomplish, which leads you to a great question. And I encourage you to ask yourself this question every day. Fill in the blank. If I did blank today, I would say I won the day. What is that for you? What's that for your health? What is that for your marriage? What's that for your finances? What's that for your career? What is that for your patience? What's the fill in the blank moment for you? If you said, hey, at the end of today is Tuesday, June 11th. By the end of today, if I do blank, I'll be able to say I won the day. Because a successful week is only successful days strung together. And if you string successful weeks, you have a successful month. If you string a successful month, successful quarter, you see where that's going. That's how you have a breakout year. It's what we do day to day that makes the difference. It's not the big things in life. I once heard a guy say financially, he said, look, it's not the $100 bills that'll make you broke. It's the $5 bills and the $1 bills. Spending a little bit here, there, compounded throughout the year can be like, what, $30 a day is like 10 grand a year or something. Like, it's a lot. The little things that we do stack up and make a big outcome at the end of 6 months, the end of a year. So being grateful, there is something to be grateful for in every difficulty. If you had the example I'll give you is like a flat tire. If you blow out a tire, it's like, well, that's horrible. That could ruin your day if you let it. But if you have gratitude, you could say, oh, well, thank God it didn't wreck. Thank God it's not raining. Thank God it's 2 lanes and I've got plenty of place to pull over. Thank God somebody was able to actually help me change the tire. Thank God I had access to the tools. Thank God I had a spare tire. Thank God it's in a safe area of town. There's a million things to be grateful for in the midst of something that you didn't even want to experience. It's an attitude of gratitude, right? Just thinking that way in life, that there's something to be grateful for. When I injured my arm, I was like, man, at least I still have an arm. I had surgery. Some people go to surgery and they come off of anesthesia like I did, but they wake up without an arm because they had to have an amputation. Thank God I've still got a working hand. Thank God they told me that I'm going to recover and I'm going to get better. Thank God they said eventually I'm going to have my strength back. I mean, I didn't want this to happen. It's been difficult on me, my family. I've got a farm. It's hard to do all that with one arm. You know what I mean? Like, this is heavy lifting for me right now as a cell phone. That's difficult, but it's like, I'm so grateful because it could be so much worse. People are dealing with so much bigger challenges than tearing a bicep tendon, So our attitude is our effect on other human beings. We have control of our attitude. We have control whether we decide to smile when we see somebody, whether we're excited to be part of a mission, whether we're excited to walk in the door somewhere, even if it's been a tough day, even if it's been raining, even if you didn't get any sleep because the baby was crying all night. Like, we have the ability to decide what our attitude is going to be. And the biggest blessing of an attitude that's positive is to the person next to you. It's the person next to you, because you are their environment. You are their culture. I mean, I want to be a part of people that are excited to be working on a mission, excited to help a child, celebrating the wins of a patient. And that's the attitude that we embody here, but we have to always keep that conscious, because if we don't, it's easy to slip into a routine where it's just another day. Just another day. If you've been a therapist for a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, it's just what you wake up and do. I don't ever, ever, ever want to take this for granted. I'm not going to live forever, but today I'm part of this mission. Today I'm going to do what I can. Today I'm grateful for the patients we serve. I'm grateful for every patient that pulls in here. I'm grateful for every single one of you. I believe that with the fiber of my being, that this is a mission. This is not just a job. This is something we get to do. We get to participate in. That's an attitude, and it affects other people. We get to control our mindset. Our mindset is how we think. It's our inner chatter. Censorship is a problem in the world today. I think you would agree with that. You could just get silenced or canceled You know, the best thing about censorship is you can censor your own thoughts. You have a child at bat. He grabs the bat, has a pitch, and he swings and he misses. And his inner chatter says, "You idiot. You're horrible at this sport. You never hit the ball." You got the same, another kid steps up, swings, and he misses, and he goes, "Oh man, I'm better than that. I'm going to hit it this next pitch." Which one of those two players you think has the most potential to succeed over the 10-year period of time of playing baseball? The one who criticizes himself, beats himself up because he missed the ball, or the one who says, "Oh man, you're better than that. This next pitch, you're going to knock it out of the park"? I think you'd agree with me. It's the kid who says, "This next pitch, I'm going to knock it out of the park." The one who has the positive mindset, in because we all have self-doubt, we all have insecurities, we all have times where we fall short, we all have times where we question ourselves. Am I made for this? Am I able to do this? Am I going to succeed at this? That's normal. But we get to be our own censorship in our own minds and say, "You know what? I'm going to pull through this. I'm going to make this happen. I'm better than that. I'm going to level up. I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'm going to learn from that failure. I'm going to learn from that mistake so that I get better the next go around, the next time I'm up to bat." Right? So that's our mindset. We choose whether we're mission driven or job driven. By the way, that's not a lifetime statement. That's a daily statement. When we walk here in this building, we get the choice to say, "Hey, I'm here to clock the clock to get a paycheck," or "I'm here, I'm on a mission. I'm going to see who I can help. I'm going to see who I can uplift. If I got a coworker going through a hard time, I'm going to pull them to the side during my lunch break and say, 'Hey, what's going on? You okay? How can I help? What's going on in your life?'" Like, I'm going to be that person to make a difference. And that's not a choice that we get to make one time. We get to choose that every day. And it's not just here. It's in your household. It's in your marriage. It's with your friendships. It's in your ministry. It's at your church. It's in your neighborhood. It's every human interaction you have. We get to make that decision every single day. So let us be conscious of that we are either uplifting or we're deflating. We're either a dismissal on somebody who is going through a hard time, or we're supportive. We're either part of their problem or we're part of their solution. It's a mindset that we have to check. Do we spot the good in others, or do we just spot places to criticize? So here's a question for you. By the way, all of you are a leader. Even if you've never been told that, even if you say, "Well, there's nobody that works under me," it doesn't matter. You're a leader. You know what leadership is? Leadership is influence, and every single one of you here have influence. Every single one of you. So by definition, no one's ever told you you're a leader. You may say, "Well, I don't want to be a leader." Too bad, because you have influence over other human beings. And so the question is, do you criticize more than you praise? It's a question that all of us have to ask. Are we the first to point out somebody's faults, or do we point out 3 great things about them before the one thing that needs some correction? Just a mindset. Do we give the benefit of the doubt, or do we pass judgment? Let me give you an example. Let's say you and I work together and I just sort of snap, just blow my top, frustrated, right? Because I'm dealing with something. Do you look at me automatically in your mind? Do you look at me and say, "Oh man, he must be having a tough day. There must be something going on in his life, and something must be challenging him," right? Or do you say, "Man, he's just such a jerk," right? So that's a question we have to ask. Do we give our coworkers, our friends, our family, do we give them the benefit of the doubt? If they're not acting in their best self, what is going on in our head? Do we look down on that person? Are we upset at that person? Do we decide we don't even like that person? Or do we say, "Oh man, I need to check on him. I need to check on her because they must be going through something. That's not who they are. That's what they did. That's their attitude. That's their emotions that are expressed, but that's not who they are in their core. They're better than that. They're nicer than that. They're sweeter than that." It's just the mindset, right? And then also the material that we fill our heads with. That's what creates a lot of the inner chatter. So my question for you is, what are you reading? What are you listening to? Who are the people that you hang around? What are they doing to your thoughts? Are they making you better? Are they inspiring you? Are they lifting you up? Are they picking you up when you're down? Or do they make you bitter? The things that we listen to affect our inner chatter. It affects the way that we think. I mean, the worst thing that you can do in the morning is literally your alarm goes off and you go check your social media feed. It's the worst thing that you can do. You're putting thoughts in your head that you didn't have the intention to put there. The last thing you want to do is get up, make a cup of coffee, and listen to the news. I mean, you're literally just opening up your mind before you even start your day consciously. You're saying, hey, whatever the world wants to put in my head today, I'm going to marinate in and I'm going to absorb. I mean, I don't know about you, but if you listen to the news, is it uplifting more than it's deflating? It's more deflating than it's uplifting, right? Let's not put that in our head at the first thing of the day. Let's get up, set our intentions, figure out how we want the day to look, wake up with gratitude and excitement for the day, maybe plan something, get some coffee. Some of you are morning people. You're up way before you're at the office. Some of you are here just skirting in on two wheels, right? Because we're all different. I'm more of a night owl, but I get up early. So I force myself to go to bed early because I get up so early most mornings. But my point is like, what is the material that's going into our minds? What are we allowing to infiltrate our thoughts? Because it affects your attitude. And I'm telling you, more importantly than anything, it affects your fulfillment. Whether you're really enjoying life or not, honestly, it has a lot to do with what you're actually allowing to come into your mind. So think about that. Also, energy. Energy is not something that you just have or don't have. What's up, Steve? Good morning. Energy is not something that you just have or don't have. Energy is a choice. It's a choice. I had physical therapy at 6 a.m. yesterday morning. Got up at the crack of dawn. I haven't been sleeping well because my arm hurts at night. So I'll wake up, have to flip over, fall asleep, wake up, flip over, fall asleep, wake up, flip over. You know, like that's just my constant reality at night. And I haven't had much sleep in terms of time either. But I get the choice today when I step in here on how much energy I'm going to exude. A power plant does not have energy, it creates it. And you have the ability to say, here's how much energy I'm going to pour into something, or you can reserve it. And I'm telling you that if you think of, while I'm talking, let me just grab 2 cups. I want to make an example. So this will serve you well. All right. Do we have a clear cup in here? Yeah. There we go. All right. So this cup, so I'm going to use the sink because it's faster. Hopefully this will stick with you today. We're going to wrap it up. All right. This big coffee cup, this represents God. And this water glass represents you. And if you wake up today and you decide that you're just going to pour a little of yourself into what you're doing, you don't leave very much room for God to fill you up because you haven't poured anything out. But if you wake up and you give it all you've got, then God can take your cup and refill it up to overflowing. That's literally our lives. That's what we get to decide to do every single day. Are we going to get up and actually pour everything we have out? Or are we just going to pour a little? That's our energy. That's what we get to exude to other people. That's what we give our patients. That's what we give our coworkers. Do we give just a little bit of ourselves and ask God to fill it back up? Or do we give everything we've got because we've got a bigger God that can refill our cup when we pour it all out? And when we pour it all out, that's when we get the patient outcomes. That's when we have life-changing experience. That's when we have a culture that's exciting that people want to be a part of. That's where you have freedom and fulfillment. Comes from that. So how much of your energy, what are you actually pouring into what you're doing? And again, that's not just here. That's in your marriage. It's in your relationship with your kids. It's every area of your life, your ministry, right? The lives that you touch with these kids. So think about that. Also, effort. That's how much of ourselves we give. Same thing on energy. No team wins a championship from playing halfway. And we're a team. So we got to give our best to these kids, these patients, and the people that we serve, and then give our best to our families and our children when we come home. And it's a lot. A lot. I never said it was going to be easy, but I promise you it's worth it to think about these 2 things. Last couple points I'll make. Culture. It's your coworkers' experience. Every single one of us is in charge of the culture. A lot of people say, oh, no, that's management's job. No, it's not management. It's everybody's job. It's my job. It's your job. It's everybody's job. This is our culture, right? We have to protect it because it's precious. If to work at a place where people collaborate and they're excited is not something that you just wake up and experience. Like it's an intention, and it's an intention that we have to have because I get to experience the culture, but I'm in control of the culture for those that are around me. Think about that, because that's what we get to do every single day. Last two things. One is just more of a tip than anything, because you can control it. I call it booking in your days. You can control how you start your day, and you can control how you finish it. You can't control all the chaos in between, right? You can't control all that stuff. But when you wake up, your attitude, your mindset, what you do, whether you go straight to social media or whether you go straight to gratitude or journal or praise and worship or read your Bible or read a book, whatever that you decide to do in the morning is in your control. You can control how you start the day. You can control how you finish the day, but you can't control everything that's in between. So be conscious of that. Don't just wake up and go into autopilot, whatever way the wind blows, letting the world fill your head with thoughts. Like, be intentional on how you start and end your day. And the last thing is preparation. We have a choice that we get to make. We get to choose whether we're prepared, whether we've planned. And again, that's in your work, but that's in your marriage. Whether you've planned a date night, that's with your children. Whether you have planned time with them, that's with your hobbies. It's with your education. It's with your career. It's with your profession. It's with your job here. We get to plan whether we're prepared, or we choose whether we're prepared or not. These are the things that we can control. There's more that we can control, but let's focus on the things that we can control. That's my message for you this morning, is where are the areas, because these are tips on living a vibrant, memorable, fulfilling life with impact. And hopefully that'll serve you. And I'll send you the recap on these notes. And I just encourage you to just spend some time on these things. Just go through the list and think about it, because if you allow it to, it will impact your life. And if you focus on things that you can control, you'll be a happier person. The people around you will be affected by your happiness and your attitude and your gratitude. But most importantly, you'll just be more fulfilled in your life, and your impact will grow, because people with enthusiasm, with a heart, with love, with gratitude, with patience and kindness, those are the people who make the biggest impact. So it'll help us all to level up. And that's what we're here to help you do. So with that being said, I love you guys. At 7:57. I know some of you got patience. I will send the recap of these notes over to you. And as always, if you need me for anything, holler at me on Slack, send me a message, and be glad to help any way that I can. I love you guys, and have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week.